the system for fathers is not designed for that, which I commend Texas for even being understanding that situation, because I watch a lot of fathers. You ever see when fathers may be like, man, I ain't talked to my kids, and Lord knows, it's just like, I'm off the drama. Like, I consistently just go through it to where they got tired and was like, man, you know what? Y'all got it, I'm gonna get out y'all way. For me, I chose to move different. Like, my kids can't fight for themselves, so if they can't fight for themselves, I brought them here, that's my responsibility. So, that's why I fought so hard in general behind my daughter, but went through custody battle for 6 years, and at the end, which I believe the beginning of 2024, they awarded me custody.
Full custody?
Yeah, no, primary custody at the point, so where she would be living with me. And
congratulations.
Right. Oh, now I have full custody, but I appreciate you on that. Yeah. But what happened was, so when I got primary custody, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna let her finish her school year off, and at the end of the school year, you'll come with me, because at the end of the day, you want her to be able to
some
adapt.
type of normalcy, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that, and once she got out of school, then they ended up letting her go back for the summer. So then I had to wait again, and right when it got time for her to get ready to go to school, man, I was letting her take her visitation in Houston, and I went and dropped off, and I've never seen her again.
And how many months?
That happened in August, and I got my baby back January 1st of this year. So, a good four and something months.
So I want to stay here for a second, because this narrative that has been shoved down people's, brains for years and centuries is Black fathers are not seen in their lives. You know what I'm saying? And I want to speak honest in this time, because oftentimes a lot of parents or a lot of children grow up with a resentment to their parents, not because their fathers didn't want to be in their lives. It's because
they were told.
It was the pettiness that one parent had towards the other one, and that can have long-lasting impact on a child without them really knowing or diving deep into like, yo, Dad, like, why didn't you come and see me? You know what I'm saying? Because I see it happen so many times in individuals' lives where it's like, yo, my dad really ain't a bad person. It's not even that my mom was a bad person. They went through so much and they didn't know how to cope with the situation at hand. And it just happened where rage and anger kept my mom from showing or allowing my dad to see. And there's an old saying of like, a person who really knows you and understands you know how to hit you where it hurts worse.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you care a lot about money, the person who wants to get or seek revenge will attack you in your money. If you genuinely care about your children, that's where they're gonna hit you at.
They definitely knew that was the only thing that could break me. I've been through everything. It ain't nothing I ain't been through just in life in general. It's even going all the way to the point of pain, just hurt. I've been through all that. But the one thing they know that definitely broke me down was what they had was my child, and for them, I don't know, because one thing I be real big on is I don't bash, you know what I'm saying? Like I watch everything I say, because at the end of the day, that's still my daughter's mother. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I ain't here to be doing that, but I definitely know they knew they was hurting me by doing what they did.
Now, throughout this process with, what you was faced with, I'm assuming that there were phone calls, text messages, you've tried to reach out numerous times.
Oh, yeah. Phones were off. The address where they stayed was swiped. And I was in LA. Because once I had got wind that there was possibility that's where my daughter was at, I was there living in a hotel, going through every hood of places that people were telling me a possibility my child can be. And that's what I was doing. And it's crazy, right? So in the midst of that, in the midst of me looking for my daughter, I get served with some papers of all kind of false stuff. So with that being happened, that kind of bought them time. So now keep in mind, this all happened in Houston. Now I have to go to LA and fight a whole nother case of something that I have no idea about in the process of looking for my daughter. And I went to court, and the judge didn't know that I had custody. She's only know what she's being told. So when I first went to court, I probably believe that the judge felt like, yeah, he's one of these bad guys. I don't know what he got going on or who he think he is, until she actually held a conversation with me and my lawyer when I was at court, when I got to speak, and she got in touch with the judge in Texas, and they let her know that I had custody and what was going on. So at that moment, they like, okay, well, you have till this time tomorrow to bring the child in. And they ran, and ain't nobody heard nothing again since. So at that point, that's what made it get even bigger, to where you had the U.S. Marshal and other people out looking for it now, because now this judge, not only the judge in Texas, now this judge here, specifically gave you demands or rules to make sure that you bring the baby back to where she's supposed to be. And she went with her move, and that's what led to it being so long of a
process
search. Yeah. And I can honestly say, man, like I said, wholeheartedly, that was probably the most hurtful, but the most frustrating, right? I'm gonna tell you why. Because I remember trying to go to certain places where there's possibility my child could be, and you have to let the officers know, look, I have paperwork. This is how it's supposed to be. And imagine I was officer telling you, like, I don't even know if that paperwork real. How would you get custody? You know, it's like they downplayed the fact of a father. Then they downplayed the fact of me being a black father and everything that I was going through. They actually thought I was just trying to kick up dust and was lying about stuff. And they're like, bro, how do I lie about this? I don't know how to make this paperwork up. I'm just simply trying to tell you that. So whichever direction or whatever go on with me trying to get my baby, y'all don't come over here and try and do something to me. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So you'll know I have the right of way. And, man, you was dealing with that, and then you have to deal with, you got Monday through Friday, people go to work. Guess what? On the weekends, they want to get home to their kids. So even if it's a chance that you may have or can know where your child is in that process, you got to wait till the next Monday. You know what I'm saying? So it was so many different roadblocks and frustrations. And the person who got my child definitely was God. And I'm going to tell you why, man. Once I finally let him know that I'm letting go, I surrender this in his hands, I started fasting. And I was supposed to do a hosting New Year's night to go to a club. You know what I mean? We rap, New Year's celebration.
That's a part of your
So in the midst of my fast, instead of doing it, I ended up going to church. And I spent my time there. And I never forget, right after that, at like 5 a.m, I got a call, and they say, hey, we found your baby. I get up frantic. It's funny because when I get up, just to hear them words, I'm running back and forth from the bed to the bathroom for about 20 minutes and ain't touched nothing. I'm just doing the same thing until I realize, like, bro, what the fuck is you doing? Like, hold on. Because at this point, it's like, you
in shock.
Yeah, so I called my son, my youngest son. He was upstairs. I like, man, we got to go. We flew into San Diego, and my brother Rob, who's my partner also of my company Bumpbox. We owners of Bumpbox. We fly to San Diego, jump in the car with him, and they drive us down by the border of Mexico to a place called El Centro. And They tell me what she is. Now keep in mind, as a father, when you're away from your child for a certain amount of time, it's a lot of thoughts that go in your brain, like, is she mad at me? Do she like me? Have she been told something different? How is she gonna respond when I see her? You know, you just wonder about, because you naturally care for your kid. And I was nervous as can be, man. And when I went to the facility, the CPS facility there, when I first seen her, that first probably minute or so, I could tell she was hesitant. And you have to understand that is probably the most, that shit will crush you like no other. And but I always had a relationship with my baby where I can talk to my baby. So as I'm talking to her and she coming to me, keep in mind I had a brother. Now her brother's is her life. He was hiding in a corner. So I'm telling her she's, you know, because I know she don't really know what's going on at the moment. So she hesitant. But I tell her to turn around and she see her brother. When she see her brother, it went back into the mode of, oh shit, these my guys.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, we've been running since. We ain't had issues. She know whatever she need to holler at me about. All she got to do is talk to me. And even then, you know, it's a process when I tell you my kids is who made me and molded me to be who I am, because even getting her back, right, you nervous, because now my baby, she want to do homeschool, she don't want to be around no kids, no nothing. And I got to respect and ride with whatever she want, because I got to make sure mentally she all right. And tried hard. And I finally got her to go to school. I got her to agree to go to school for a couple hours. So when she would go to school for the first couple weeks, which was probably close to a month in when she was back, I would sit outside the classroom in a chair, like security, meaning they knew no matter. So anytime she come look out that window,
You there.
I'm there. And if I ain't there, it was gonna be pure chaos for her, you know. And I did, and I finally got to a point where she started going. And again, remember I told you I teach my baby the best of all worlds to where she was advanced, and it was a blessing, bro. She ended up graduating this year. So not only missing so long of school, you coming back doing double the work.
Yeah.
To where now you going to your next grade
And
at
how
the top
old
of
is
that. She's 6.
So at 6 years old, right?